in grade 3. So here we are, a math lesson. Today we're working on subtraction strategies. So before we get started, let's review the parts of the subtraction sentence. So when you think of subtraction, let's link it first to addition. So with addition, we had part plus part equals your whole total number. So 4 plus 5 equals the total 9. When we turn it into a subtraction, we start with the whole, the large number, the whole group. 9, we subtract one of the parts, 4 equals 5. So 9 we call the whole, we start with the whole, we subtract a part, and that equals the other part. Who remembers the proper wording for this? What's the proper word for the whole number? Come on. It looks like minus. Minu, and then it's, use the word end, minuend, minuend, subtract, has the word sub in it, subtrahend equals, and this is the part you actually have to remember, the difference. What is the difference between, whenever you see that in a word problem, what is the difference? Take the bigger number, subtract the two from each other. What's the difference? What's the gap? All right, this is the part you don't have to remember. We just remember whole, subtract part equals part or equals difference. All right, now I gave you the paper so that you could make one of these. This we need for today's lesson. What are some subtraction strategies which will help us? So I need you to make this. So if you couldn't open the file, I sent a different format today from CamScan. Open it up, cut them out, and assemble them. You'll need a little bit of help. And then when you're ready, watch this video, continue it. So if you're not ready, you need to push pause. All right, subtraction strategies. The first strategy is about let's read it. 4 subtract 0 equals 4. So this is the strategy called subtracting 0. So 4 subtract 4 equals 0, or basically there's no change. A number, take away the same number equals 0, or if you have a number, pause for a sec so you don't have to wait. And you have a 0. So like let's say it's 4 subtract 0 equals. Think about this. It's the same as 4 plus 0. Your answer, the difference, is going to be same as your minuend was to start with. 4 subtract nothing is still 4. Or the other rule when you have with zeros and subtracting is if you have your minuend and your subtrahend, so the whole number and the part you're subtracting is the same, then you're obviously going to have none left. And you might think that's obvious, but you'd be surprised. Sometimes kids go like this, 4 minus 0 equals 0. Not true. All right, flip to your next flip tab, and that is counting back. Counting back. What does it say? Well, read it to yourself. 6 subtract 2. Put the largest number in your head, 6, and count back 2. One hop, now you're on 5, and one more hop. Now you're on 4. So when do you use count back? You use count back when you have your minuend, your whole number here. And the number you're subtracting is like 4 or less. It's something you can hop back in your head or easily on your fingers. So 4, 3, 2, or 1, or nothing, obviously. So for example, let's do one. 13 subtract 2 equals, do it in your head. 13, hop back 2, 13. Now when you hop back, make sure you don't say 13, 12, because there's actually only a difference of 1 there. Make sure you go 13, 12, 11. So as you hop away from 13, I like to make hop jumps. That way I know for sure I didn't make any mistakes. So 13, 12, imagine it's a number line, 11. So that's what you're doing in your head, 11. All right, how about 21 subtract 3? Hop back in your head. 21, 20, 19, 18, right? Answer is 18. So when do you use count back? When you're subtracting a small subtrahend. When you're subtracting, the part isn't that big. You can just blink, 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 hop back. So imagine a number line. You have to start being able to do it without a ruler now. Do it in your head, or use your fingers if you need extra support, but try to do it in your head. The other way is to jump by 2, so by either by odd numbers or even numbers. So if it's subtract 4, so let's do 26 subtract 4. So in your head, you go 26 subtract 2 is 24, subtract 2 would be 22. So you could start thinking odds and evens, right? And if this was 27, you could think 2 less than 7 is 5. 2 more or less would be the next odd number, which is 3. Or 7 subtract 4 is 3. So that's kind of more obvious. All right, so that's that strategy. I'm going to clear my board before we do the next strategy. Okay. It says count up. And it's really important that you understand what it's talking about here. If the numbers are close on the number line, so your minuend and your subtrahend, they're actually pretty close. Put the smallest number in your head and count up. Now let me show you that with an obvious one. Let's look at 9 subtract 7. Which is hard to see because there's a glare. So let's move it over. 9 subtract 7. You could count back and go 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. The answer is 2, Mrs. DeBoer. At which point I will look at you and I'll say, well, that's true, but that took you an awfully long time and you had a lot of fingers to use. Was there a faster way? Yes. When you can see that a 9 and a 7 are actually pretty close together on a number line, the other way to go is close the gap. How far is that 9? So think about it as this. This tree is 9 feet tall. This tree is 7 feet tall. How much tall? Like, what's the gap? That's all you're doing, finding the gap. So count up. 7, 8, 9. So how many hops did you make? 2. That goes way faster. So let me give you one. And you tell me what the answer is. So again, when they're close together on the number line, that's when you start at the part number you're subtracting and count up towards the whole number. So let's do 11 subtract 8 equals. 11 and 8, they're pretty both big numbers, and this is pretty close to that. So count on or count up. 8, 3. In fact, if I see you doing little lumps like that, I don't care. That tells me that you're using a strategy. And sooner or later, as you do it more and more, you'll be able to do it faster. All right, let's do 21 subtract 18. You can do it. Go. 19, 20, 21, 3. Or maybe even did it in your head. 18, 19, 20, 21. Oh, that's 3. And one more. 16 subtract 13. Oh, shoot. These are all 3. I need to do one more. Now, the fun thing about this one, 18 subtract 12, is you could actually just subtract your ones, 8 subtract 2. And then 1 subtract 1 is nothing anyway. Or you can count up. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. It's actually 6. And this would be your first clue. 8 minus 2 is 6. So that's actually a different strategy. All right, let's go to the next strategy. What do we have here? After count up, we have take from 10. And we're going to look at that one a little bit different. So we're going to skip that one for now. Let's go to doubles takeaway. Now, has Mrs. DeBoer drilled the doubles into your head or what? Because I know Ms. D did. When you see 14, this is doubles takeaway strategy. Doubles. When you see 14 and you see a 7, I need there to be an alarm in your head that goes double 7. When you see 16 and you see an 8, I need you to go double. When you see 18 and you see 9, you need to have double. You need to know those. That's why we did them so much, because that will help you for subtraction, which takes us to the other ones that we've been working on so far, the almost doubles, or what did Miss D call them? Doubles minus 1. I just call them almost doubles because it's the same fact family. When you see a 17 and you see an 8, I always want you to think 9. When you see a 17 and you see a 9, I want you to always think 8. If you can do it on your drill, but then you did your worksheet yesterday, and I think this one was on there 3 times. Somebody in my house, I don't know who, didn't remember what it was. And I said, you just did your drill. You know these. Use the strategy. Strategy is near doubles take away. Okay, so that's why I've been working so hard on those with you. And then we're going to go to one that's in your book. This last one that we're going to talk about, and it's kind of counting up, but it's using tens. So let's get ready for that. Okay. Important strategy. It's probably one of the most important ones. It's connected to counting up, but it's also using tens. And this is what the book wants us to do. And so we really need to get this. And this is when you're subtracting scary numbers. When you have to subtract 7, you're subtracting 8, you're subtracting 9, and you're thinking, oh, I can't count back. That's going to be a lot. Or you're thinking, what do I do? What do I do? It's like, is it half? I can't remember. All right, watch what you can do. Let's say that we have 13, subtract 9. Now, there are all sorts of subtract 9 tricks, and you can read this one over with your mom. There are, I think, 3 different subtract 9 tricks. However, actually, I'm going to tell you the first trick because it's really cool. Did you know that when you're doing a teen number with 9 and it's just subtract 9, the answer is these 2 digits added together? I didn't know that till yesterday. Right? 12 subtract 9 equals 1 plus 2. 11 subtract 9 equals 1 plus 1. Isn't that the weirdest thing? God's amazing. That's like patterns from God. I just love it. All right. So anyways, now you know the answer already. But here's what they want you to think. Another subtract 9 trick is just start counting on. But watch this. When you're subtracting to get to 13, when you're going from 9 to 13, go 9, 10. Da, 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 da. I did 1 hop and I'm at 10. Now that you're at 10, how many more hops is it to 13? 10 to 13, 3 more, right? So you went 1 hop, now you're at 9, now you're at 10. You went, now you would need 3 more to get to 13. So how far apart would they be? 4. Okay, so that trick works for subtract 8 and for subtract 7 as well. So let's take 15, subtract 7 equals. Now, first of all, you should have a big bleep, bleep, bleep going off in your head because you know this is a near double, right? But if that strategy isn't working, use this strategy. Count towards 15. 7, how far is 7 to get to 10? How many hops? This is why you need to know what numbers make 10. It's 3. So in 3 hops, 7, 8, 9, 10, you'll get to 10. And once you're at 10, how many more hops is it to get to 5? To get to 15, pardon me. 5 more. So 5 plus 3 is 8. This is a bit of a hard strategy, and the book calls it making a 10. So on your way counting up, you're finding the 10 and then using that to find 2 numbers. Yes, it's a little bit tricky. So if you can't really remember this and other tricks are working better for you, I don't want you to sweat about this. Let's do a few more practices. The monkey in the middle ones are actually the ones this works best for. So let's do 14 subtract 6. Actually, let's do 14 subtract 8. Okay, so we're going to count up towards 14 to solve this. This is a subtract 8. It seems scary. 8, how many hops to 10? 2. And now how many hops from 10 to 14? Should be 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, because you know 10, 14, that's just the ones number. So it's 4 hops and 2 hops equals 6 hops. So that's what your answer is, 14 and 6. Now again, another better, faster way of doing it might be remembering that 14 is 7 plus 7. So if you see 14 with an 8, that's on that side, think monkey in the middle, the answer has to be 6. So I don't really want to talk more about the strategy making a 10 if it totally doesn't make sense to you. Other strategies will help you out just fine anyway. Or just think about it as counting up. Or what did we call it? Yeah, counting up or counting on. All right, let's pull up our math sheet and get started. All right, so this is what your math sheet looks like. Did you get it out already? Subtraction 3.2. If you're not ready, pause the video. I'm going to keep going. All right, so our blue boxes, let's check them out and see what they want to teach us before we get going. Reading with me. The boys collected 9 bugs for their science project. 2 bugs escaped. How many bugs are left? We had 9, 2 escaped. Equals how many? Go to the box underneath. When you're just subtracting 2, what are you supposed to do? Count back. So you see this circle here where it says count back. I want you to circle that. That's one strategy. Count back. When do we count back? Read what it says above the circle in that rectangle here. To subtract 1, 2, or 3, count back from the whole. So underline that. Count back from the whole when it's just 1, 2, or 3. So circle 1, 2, or 3. If you're just subtracting 1, 2, or 3, count back from your whole number from your minuend. So 9, 8, 7. So that's what they're showing you in the picture. All right, let's read the word problem on the other side of the picture on the right-hand side. Of the 7 bugs, only 4 were used for the project. How many bugs were not used? So 4 were used and were not. To subtract larger numbers, count on to the whole. Now I would prefer if this was a 5 because it would be more obvious. 4 doesn't seem super close to a 7. Anyways, to subtract larger numbers, count on, or I think in our strategy book, it was called count up. So here where it says count on, you can also write count up. Whether you say up or on, counting on up. So you start at the 4 and they put it on this side. I'd like to do it this way to show you're counting up. 4, 5, 6, 7. So you count on, circle that. You count on when you are subtracting larger numbers. So let's get right to work. Number 1, should you count back or count on? Circle 1. So you're not answering the question, you're just saying what strategy to use. So number 1, 10 subtract 8. Are you going to count back 8? Or are you going to count on from 8 up to 10? Number 2, 11 minus 2. Are you going to count back? Is it nice and a little number? Count back. Then it's back 2. Or are you going to count on from 2 up to 11? Number 3, 11 subtract 8. Are you going to count back? Or are you going to count on or count up? For every count on, you could write up if you're getting confused. And 8 subtract 6. Are you going to count back 6? Or are you going to count up or on from 6 up? All right, let's move further down. Oh, I can do that like this. Then the light gets kind of funny. So I'm just going to slide my thing up this way. Okay. Number 5, count back to solve and circle the difference. It's really important that you do that instruction. Count back to solve. 12 minus 3. We'll do that one together. 12, 11, 10, 9. and circle the difference. Did you like this? Now what they want you to do is on this line here underneath it is show what you did. So you went 12 and you counted back. 11, 10, 9. So that was your 3 hops. 1, 2, 3. A bit confusing, eh? 10 subtract 1. We'll do 1 hop back. And I don't like how it's set up. So if you want to skip this because it's confusing, I think the line should be on that side because you're hopping back. And back to me goes that way. 10 subtract 1 is 9. So hop back 1, 10, 9. 9 subtract 3, count back. 9, 8, 7, 6. 8, 7, 6. Again, if you don't like this, skip it. And do the same for there. All right. Number 9. Count on to solve and circle the difference. Now this makes sense. You're going from 8 up. So since you're subtracting large numbers, 8, 6, 9, 9, you're going to count up or you're going to count on. So 11 subtract 8. Well, show me what you're going to do. 8, count on. 9, 10, 11. So how many hops was that? 3. Okay, do 10, 11, 12 the same way. If you want to skip this bottom part, you can. As long as you're using the strategy, you're counting up. And let's finish it up. All right, so now this is the part about using 10 when you're counting up. So here they did 14 minus 8, so let's not worry about this. It's just going to get confusing. 14 minus 8. So here's 14, 10, and 4 more. And I want you to subtract. I'm already confused. Oh, we're counting on. So 14 subtract 8. They're showing you 8 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you're counting on towards 14. So get to 10 first. 8, 9, 10. Here we go. 9, 10. And now how many more to get to 14? 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's 10. I'm going to get a big blob. 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's going to be 2 plus 4 more. So it's going to be 2 plus 4 more is 6. So that's your answer. So I'm going to do this one with you right here because that's what they're doing. So 13 subtract 9. As you go from 9 towards 13, how many hops do you need to make to get to 10? 1 hop. So put a hop of 1 here. Now, how many more hops once you're at 10 to get to 13? 3 more. So what is 13 subtract 9? 4. Now, a smarter person would use your subtract 9 strategy. 13 subtract 9, just add up the 1 as if it's a single digit to the 3 as if it's a single digit. The answer is 4. Way easier. 17 subtract 8. If you know the answer already and you don't need the strategy, write the answer down already. However, if you're having a brain fart moment, I'm going to move this just a wee bit, then use the strategy because they want you to practice it. From 8, you're going to count towards 17, but use the 10 as your middle number. 10. How do you get from 8 to 10? How many hops? 8, 9, 10. That's 2 hops. How many more hops to get to 17? You're at 10. You need to get to 17. 7 more. Does everybody catch that? To get from 10 to 17, right? It's just your ones column. 10 to 7. Okay. So then your answer is 9. Unless you realize that this is an almost double, to which point you would have answered it already. And the last one, 16 subtract 7. Since it's an even number, you know that this might be a monkey in the middle. That's my hint. All right, 16 subtract 7. Go from 7, count up towards 16, but stop at the 10 on your way. So here we go. 7. How far from 7 to 10? 7, 9, 10. 3. Now that you're at 10, how many more to get to 16? 6. So the answer is 9. Wow, that's pretty tricky. If you can remember monkey in the middle for this, if you see 16, which you know is a double, think 8 plus 8, which means if you see a 7, think 7 plus 9, right? Monkey in the middle. Here's your 8. If you see a 7, then the answer is going to be a 9. So it has to equal. All right, now you can do this last bit, which you can hardly see, and use whatever strategy you want. If you can remember 9 strategies, so this one here, 15 subtract 9, use the subtract 9 trick. Same with this one. Well, it's a double anyway. Use whatever trick you want here, even though they tell you use the make 10. If you have a different trick, use it. Think strategies. And nobody is counting backwards for these big numbers. Do we all understand that? Yes, we do. All right, finish it up. You can do this. See you in another video.